this correctly, if they play team fight, play objectively, it will be an easier game for them, at least in execution. But of course, execution is different, you know.
You can already see early on how they've opted to actually play out the lanes here is with a leash, right? The Brody helping out the Granger, and also on top of that, Erwin was actually able to just buy some time in the gold lane by putting the wall down, but it does seem like right now it is RSG who are pushing the pace. With 505 and Bray already in enemy jungle, this is what you need to do up against something like a Granger.
Yeah, Lozi really need to use the fact that the Cho could be very annoying against the enemy jungle, but Erwin on the other hand, as that Grok could be annoying as well. The first skill does a lot of damage, so it's up to RSG to make sure that Bray gets to level 4 untouched. Once he unlocks the decimation, start going for this early, turtle objective. We saw in the team head-to-head earlier, right, Wolf? The fact that RSG really prioritized these neutral objectives very quickly. However, S11 though, they are bloodthirsty.
I'm gonna be feeling it for RSG Singapore. They need to make Lilia reach level 4 as soon as possible, the first turtle fight, which kind of tells me that S11 might consider getting Erwin to his ultimate fast. So maybe they put him in the mid lane and then put the Eve in the top lane so that they will have 2 ultimates available, the real world manipulation as well as the wild charge. That is their key if they do want to contest the first turtle.
Yeah, but Wolf, I feel like right now, if you notice the rotation of S11, Kai is trying to walk towards the turtle. Baby Cakes, on the other hand, being the late game marksman, would love to stay in lane. But now RSG, S11, they're actually gearing up for the fight right here. Look at that, Bray's already on that turtle for now.
Jotun finally getting that level 4, has the ultimate, but Bray and Lolzy are controlling it. Lolzy jumping in, that's going to be the final blow to the back line. Is Papa Dog's going to be able to find that, but the Petrify connects by Diablo onto Jotun, who's still committing onto the turtle. That was reset perfectly by RSG. S11 still going at it. They want to look for it. The steal will not come down for Papa Dog as Lolzy is able to use the Way of the Dragon to zone Papa Dog away.
Wolf, do you see that? I thought it was like, what? They're putting so much damage on top of the turtle, but the turtle somehow just doesn't refuses to die. It's like an Estes healing that turtle. Do you see that?
Yeah, I did see that. And whoever made that play, I don't know if it's intended, like crazy amount of planning for that one, or maybe it's just happenstance, but either way, it worked in favor of RSG Singapore, who had the better experience. Now, I'm not talking about actual experience, I'm talking about in-game experience, where Lolzy already had his ultimate up, he had the flicker, he didn't manage to land it on a good hero, but then again, they still managed to get their position and set a territory around the turtle area. Unfortunately for S11, they had to use Jotun in the mid lane, the jungler, so that he'll get to his ultimate. And that meant that Erwin will not have his. They didn't have wild charge in that team fight.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that could have went wrong for S11 went wrong. RSG already just somehow did that weird turtle reset. And they've also got their items in. Just now I saw Baby Cakes already slowly waiting towards... Oh, Diablo!
2v1, able to find a trade, but Jotun gets the kill back on top. He doesn't go for the turret gold up in the XP lane, however, which is very, very interesting here. Still respecting the other RSG members. They're not visible on the map, but let's take a look at the emblems now.
Yeah. Surprised to see a Weapon Master for the Brody, because typically you want to go for a killing spree.
Yeah.
But I guess they want to just take over the early game as soon as possible, which kind of, it kind of speeds up your damage output if you're the Brody. And they do want to go for the burst. That's what we're talking about. That's probably why they chose the Weapon Master over anything else.
Yeah, correct. I feel like the Granger already has that big burst. That's why you give the killing spree over to the Granger, the Weapon Mastery over to that Brody. The Brody, technically speaking, it's like a, this is not a short-term plan that S11 wants that Brody. Kai needs to go for that mile. He's constantly landing down those auto attacks as the second turtle has spawned.
With the second turtle, it comes down again to that control. And in the mid lane so far, it has been RSG. But right now in the 4th minute, S11 have actually been able to clear the mid lane first. But you can see the adaptation from RSG. Amazing turtle reset towards their side. As now, the mini waves are going to be crashing again into the mid lane. Erwin still in the front, getting the wall down as Papa Dog jumps in, but is going to be cancelled out as that's going to be Chan who picks up the turtle. Bray going to be caught. That's a lot of damage. The turtle pop memory finishes him off as Lolzy tries to run away, but Kai is going to be able to take the damage down, to pick the double kill up, and to equalize and take the lead back for Argentina.
S11 literally stabilized a very dire early game. Now RSG on the back foot right here. Look at how S11 is actually punishing Baby Cakes. Real one manipulation. Oh no, it doesn't connect on top of Baby Cakes.
Unfortunately for RSG Singapore, they weren't able to utilize their biggest team fight ultimate, which is the Dragon Force coming out from Diablo. That's why S11 found a big opening, and they can burst the turtle so easily because of their double marksman setup. Well, because of the Brody's damage and the Weapon Master, you saw him critting over 1,000 damage onto the turtle. And of course, Jotun being a Granger can really burst that turtle down so easily. And that's why S11 was able to just establish territory this time. A great recovery from the Argentinian squad.
Ice Queen 1 already built for the side of Chan. We notice Jotun is already starting to take more resources away from RSG. Bray has already completed Hunter Strike, so that could be a pulse buy. He needs to try to play around that. Unfortunately, S11, Jotun is a Granger. The early game, aggression that S11, they're looking for the kills, they're looking for these small little objectives, and they're looking really good.
What is that stat line, Wolf? Remember, S11 only won one game in the groups, and Kai has only suffered 2 deaths this M4. That's insane.
That is insane. To think that they are losing the games and they're actually playing like long games as well, like 14, the north of 14 and 15 minutes. And
aggressive comps.
Aggressive comps. This is
impressive
amazing.
positioning.
Very impressive coming out from Kai, and never doubt his choices now. Brody is proving to be a good pick for S11.
Yeah, but Chan, I think, going down this real world manipulation super early on, that big ultimate, big teamfight ultimate is going to go on cooldown, especially when the third turtle, the last turtle, that will spawn very quickly. RG, on the other hand, they're desperately trying to shove that way, but Chan cleared it off, leaving Fire 5 with only a bit of HP left.
Well, we'll see. Once again here with the mid lane control, S11 have the priority on the turtle. Lolzy trying to find an opening here as he pops the conceal, but it's going to be cancelled out. Lolzy going to be able to find the flicker, but it's going to be stunned up now. That's going to be the retribution by Bray. Jotun going to be caught. Has a detonata, but it's going to fall towards Diablo, who's able to dive into the back line. Bray with a decimation 2 finds another, and it's a 2-for-1. It's only the roamer falling for RSG, and they've taken a turtle.
Good news over the side for RSG. Don't forget, they entered the team fight 4 versus 5. It is Fire 5 that need forced to go back and reset. However, because S11, they don't have the real world manipulation, opting to use it to clear the waves right off the bat. They don't have that big mega control. And don't forget, Lolzy coming in at a nice angle right there, Wolf.
Yeah,
going in, knock up 3, that is good enough.
I definitely want to attribute that to the experience that RSG has outside of the game, because that was wonderful positioning from Lolzy.
Uh-oh, 505 going to be caught here. Doesn't have the black shoes to get out. A good snipe by Baby Cakes, but Kai, again, going to be able to find that kill. Baby Cakes with one more hit. Kai's going to be punished, overstayed just a bit. And Baby Cakes, when you give him an inch, he takes a mile. That's Kai's 3rd death in this tournament.
That's exactly what we want to see from Baby Cakes, right? Beatrix finally popping off. I'm really happy for him. But don't forget, he's also playing with somewhat of a disadvantage. He's not, unfortunately, but he will be playing from the hotel because of COVID.
Yeah, what we saw from back-to-back instances where RSG won is the difference between the experience of the two teams. The first fight is Lolzy as well as Diablo made the S11 panic, and you see Jotun just desperately try to secure that turtle. Unfortunately, they didn't have the advantage. And afterwards, you saw Kai. He was so desperate into clearing that wave that he sacrificed his life. In exchange for one cannon, he lost his life and claimed his 3rd death.
Yeah, we've seen how damaging one auto attack is. Now we've seen how damaging one siege minion is right now. Now the map state a little bit reset, just taking a look at the kill lead, 5v5. In terms of gold lead, not too far apart, but the first lot has spawned.
I think for me, S11, right? The main mistake that they've been doing right now is they're not utilizing the early lead that Kai has. Baby Cakes has equalized and at this point is actually ahead of Kai. That's going to be Lolzy who finds the way the dragon with the Jikudo flicker. Everyone's going to fall. The Torrent Part member is going to be able to punish one member down. Diablo's going to dash. He gets the petrify onto 2 members. Zones the back line. Meanwhile, Kai and Papa Dog able to find a double kill. Jotun still trying to find Diablo right now as the other members comes in as well. Diablo going to fall. It's a 3-for-2 for the Argentinians. And just like you mentioned, Jace, the Lord is up.
S11, this is the time for them to try to take that one Lord away. That is a neutral objective that they don't usually prioritize, and now they're learning, they're adapting. RG, on the other hand, they fall a little bit too far. It is Diablo that overextended a little bit too far, and I have to admit, S11 using Kai and also Papa Dog to zone out the rest of RSG, that's insane, as S11 took this Lord uncontested.
That is the skirmish that I call exchange of prisoners, wherein you kind of trade your explainers. The opposing explainers goes for your backlines, and your explainer goes to the opposing backlines. Unfortunately for RSG Singapore, after the fact that the Dragon Form is over, you don't have that teamfight integrity anymore. Whereas if you're looking for the Benedetta, there's infinite amount of damage you can get. And S11 just won that skirmish because they have the better firepower or more sustainable firepower compared to RSG Singapore.
Just now, when the item was showing Kai's BOD, Legion, anything that has like, that gives you attack damage, he's already have it. This Weapon Master, S11, Kai needs to be respected. Just take a look at how fast he's just dismantling RSG one by one in terms of these turrets. It's looking very bleak for RSG.
It just, as I said, right, I felt like Kai wasn't utilizing the early lead, and just right there, he pops it, has the mid-game power spike, he goes in with the team, and that's what they need to do. Bray is going to be actually taken low here with the real world inflation, and the Death Sonata that's going to be able to fight it. Erwin right forward to find a wild charge, as Lolzy falls as well. Diablo has the Petrify, gets Jotun up, but Kai in the back line is going to be able to free hit. Baby Cake's going to lose a lot of HP, but Kai's going to be able to flicker out. Winner nature by Baby Cakes. Papa Dog diving in, again, dealing a lot of damage, but it's not going to be enough to take the rest of the RSG members down. It's a 2 for 2, but the Lord is munching on the turret. Meanwhile, Papa Dog gets the tier 2 down in the mid lane, and RSG are still going to be able to defend for the base turrets.
Wonderful defense coming up from RSG Singapore if you think about it. However, S11 just found the opening. I think this is because of Papa Dog's initiation from the backlines. And this is not the first time that Papa Dog has impressed us. Even Mirko casted them outside of M4, and he's already making wonders. I think he learned a lot from that tournament, and now he's flexing it all over RSG Singapore.
Yeah, Brute Force breastplate already being built by the side of the Jotun. That's why Diablo is unable to find the target to burst him down quickly before he could do any collateral damage. The fact that, you know, Chan land down the real world manipulation catching 2, that's technically a big stun. It allows Jotun to just land down the Death Sonata, but however the kick, wrong side. Lolzy will be able to shove Papa Dog away, but wait, Erwin's in the back line.
It's a misplay here by both Lolzy and Erwin, but it's Erwin who gets punished down. Jotun looking for a play, that's the real world manipulation, locking Baby Cakes down as the Death Sonata comes down as well. Baby Cakes flickering out and getting back to safety. Man, it was just out of vision. Lolzy wanted to get the flicker down to get behind, and on top of that, Erwin, he wanted to capitalize, but he just couldn't.
It's very difficult to beat Erwin in this game, actually, because this is like a second pick Grok. And you can see RSG Singapore, they have so many answers to that. Even just the presence of the Lilia as well as the Beatrix make it so difficult for Erwin to initiate with the Wild Charge without the flickers. That's really what happened in there too.
That's right, 10 seconds. It's going to be the Lord spawning very, very soon right now. S11 is actually mostly doing the fight in RSG side of the map. But wait, here comes the Death Sonata.
Lolzy's gotta be careful here. That's a lot of damage being placed onto him. That's the Roamer though. That's a big ultimate burnt down. 1 for 0. Jotun almost just bursting 505 down. Baby Cakes looking for a snipe, but S11 right now, 3.3k gold lead. They're on the Lord with a one-man advantage.
Erwin locking away Bray, not even allowing him to step into the Lord pit. He could just go in and try to take the steal, but the RSG decides to give it up over to S11, and this is looking very bad.
A wonderful Lord dance that was choreographed by S11. You might not have noticed it, but it was actually Papa Dog going for the longer lane. So the top lane is called the long lane when the Lord is on the bottom lane. And that is how they managed to disperse RSG Singapore. RSG had to think about their lane up top and also the Lord. Well, S11, that's the reason why they committed the real world manipulation outside of the Lord, because they know that if they fend off RSG Singapore, if they poke RSG Singapore, RSG will not have any shot at taking the Lord.
That's right, if you noticed earlier right now, if you take a look, it's damage dealt mostly by Chan with the real world manipulation, right? And not only just that, as Yonsei is also sending this Lord all the way down top. It is very vulnerable. RSG technically do have, you know, the Beatrix, the Bandit's Rage with the bombs as well, should be able to help to clear out the wave. However, RSG, they need to make a play. It's all up to Lolzy to be able to pick up the right targets at the right time, like how he did in the early parts of the game.
That's the siege coming down as S11 finds the base turret. Bray gonna be zoned away. Lolzy trying his best to look for that Jikundo, but it's gonna be punished in the end. That's a flicker forward. Kai almost finding the kill out of Bray, who's still gonna be able to get out. Kai dealing a whole lot of damage to 505. His Baby Cakes here is not gonna be able to defend the mid lane turret. Erwin flickers forward, finds the wild charge, and that's a Petrify to follow through. But in the back line as well, RSG are going to be able to find the two marksmen from S11. Erwin going to fall to the decimation as that's going to be Bray picking up a triple kill. They're looking for the Maniac. Bray is walking them down. Papadog and Chan able to get out with the utilities. Lolzy jumps in, not able to find the Jikundo. Chan still just kiting back, dealing damage. Lolzy forced them back away. RSG have won, but they lost 3 base turrets.
It's a very expensive loss, Wolf. RSG, that was a good defense, but they need more. You saw how hard it is for Lolzy to just step forward, and you saw how confident Kai is on this Brody. I think this is like a hidden ace in the sleeve.
Yeah. And Baby Cakes just survived long enough. After the initiation coming out from Erwin, there's some hesitation coming out from S11. But imagine if they chain together their Benedetta, Purify, and Electro Final Blow with the Wild Charge, and of course the Real World Manipulation, there will be no chance for Baby Cakes to survive. He did survive because of the Wind of Nature and because of the fact that he got out of the Real World Manipulation, but it would have been the death of RSG Singapore had it not been that Baby Cakes was able to survive. And S11, surely they are executing properly, but they need to be more coordinated in those pushes. Still, RSG Singapore on the back foot.
That's the Petrify, and that's Papadog getting out. That's the damage coming through from Kai. He's
Oh
going to
my
be able to
goodness.
actually dish him down. Both Baby Cakes and Lolzy falls down. Diablo trying to find the saving grace here, but Kai's going to be able to stun him up.
no.
The Petrify will not be able to save him. Diablo gets the immortality in time, but now in a 3v1, it is Chan who picks up a triple. 505 going to be sandwiched here by both Jolton and Erwin. That's 505 still cutting away. Jolton going to be caught low. 505 versus the world, and it's a maniac for Chan. S11, the Argentinians are looking for the end.
Chan, the real world manipulation is so crazy, and it just does Bray left, and they're gonna have to try to fight this.
Torn apart memory by Kai to zone him away. S11 strike first in the lower brackets in a best of 3 up against the Singaporean champions.
GG well play over to S11, the Argentinian. Fans must be cheering, even though everyone was voting against them. They showed us,
Cast their curse.
oh, we are wrong.
What a great maneuver coming out from S11. It all started with Papadog just baiting them out, so they formed a circle. It's an outer circle versus inner circle thing where the outer circle is S11. They invited the inner circle, which was RSG Singapore, inside their own territory, then took them out one by one. The phalanx of Argentina was so good, and the maneuver allowed them to take the full team wipe.
S11, what they did in this game was just punish, right? They continuously just punished RSG SG right now. And as you can see, RSG SG, it feels like, we mentioned this in the draft, they had a more multi-dimensional draft, right? Where they could actually dive, they could front and back, and they could also just play sieging down the turrets. But they did not do that. Instead, they just went for fights, and they followed Lolzy into a lot of these crazy engages that just did not work out for them.
Yeah, I just feel like, you know, S11, man, that was a really good game.
Yeah.
Beating down RSG Singapore, but of course, we gotta talk about M4 Battle Night that's going live this January 31st. Expect loads of events and rewards up for grabs in-game. So what do you have to do? First off, complete battle tasks in-game on January 21st to get a skin choice chest. You can choose the skin that you like from the chest, and the best part is there's a Stellaris Ghost skin. And aside from that, battle bonus awaits you on the same day. Play the matches and you'll get a team star protection for 3 matches, double star raising points, double the protection points, double the XP, and double the BP for 5 matches. And of course, we're not stopping here. Free access to every single heroes in the Land of Dawn, and loads of epic skins will be available on that very same day. So save that day, log in to the game on January 21st, enjoy the match with tons of rewards. Let's all celebrate and for a championship together, including with your friends.
I just can't get over the fact that there was the chemistry coming out from S11 is really showing up this game. There were times that there was a little bit of a blunder. There were mistakes made for sure, but when they win the fights, they look really good.
They look really good as well, but who else is looking very good as well is going to be our analyst, Dave, Leo, Gideon. Take us through the draft.
Uno más, mi amigos. Uno más for S11. Welcome to the analyst stand. At your service, my name is Leo, joined there by my amigos. This is Dave, and that's Gideon. Let's first talk about the draft. RSG SG looked solid to start, but S11 seems to have found a way to make the double marksman lineup work.
Honestly, the Super League has really impressed me so far, and especially the talents that's coming out of the Latam region. They continue to progressively get good. But this particular draft was interesting because when we look at it, my goodness, it is just alt, and then the Eve, it's just every single movement you think you can get ahead, you just can't. You can't leave that real world manipulation without dying.
Yeah, absolutely. We talk about how synergized this ultimate, how deadly it can be if they used in synchronization, and that's exactly what S11 did. It seems like in game one, they are the team that's more open, more brave to do what they plan to do. Whereas if you look at RSG Singapore, they started off very strong, but they're kind of nervous through the mid-game and lost the grasp of how to engage and how to follow up as a team.
But if you're going to look at the in-game stats, it's a little closer to call, right? There have been definite moments where RSG was in control. I'm talking early game, a little bit of that mid-game. But when it came to late game, again, you see the difference maker that these two marksmen have when it comes to taking objectives, especially if they're for free. S11 Gaming is in it.
They are. They're in it to win it for sure. They know that this is tournament live, so they're playing even harder than before. Just notice the positioning of specifically Kai and Jotun. Because if we're talking about Papa Dog, he's doing his own thing, but Kai and Jotun have to work in tandem with each other, especially against RSG like that. Yutong could have been the game breaker for them.
Yeah, absolutely. But sometimes when Diablo trying to go for the backline, he have to go really far to reach the Granger and Brody. Whereas for Benedetta by Papa Dog, it seemed like it's within the reach. Every time he ults, it just reach out the backline, and Baby Cake's always in trouble. And that is something that for RSG going to game two, they have to figure out a way how to play more backwards, how to focus on one target at a time instead of chasing all different targets at the same time.
Yep, and there was a lot on the back of one of the older brothers for RSG SG. I'm talking about Lolzy. He could find some angles on that show. He took a lot of damage, peeled as a tank, as a roamer, but in the end, again, when it comes to firepower, most likely he just ended up dying after those engages. Again, I think that's what Dave was trying to get at when it comes to the RSG, front to back to front. Like, how do you reset from there?
I think it comes down to the heroes that you have selection to. The Cho versus the Grok. I think, if we're talking about the muscle, physically, Lolzy looks big, but Erwin is even bigger here. The supermodel himself is able to kind of get that information, open up that space before taking him out.
No, what I see mostly in the mid-game when I see from RSG is that they need to shake away the nervousness and really just go for it and wait for the team and get ready.
Yep, given the fact that they're not complete here in the stadium, it is what it is. But again, competition is going to continue. The show must go on. If there is one player we are going to highlight, it's the MVP. We're going to be awarding that very soon. I have just my eyes on the man Chan. Like, it's no doubt, right? The box that the Eve puts up, it's gotta be the Eve that helps set it up, because again, you mentioned how Diablo can actually find their targets, and you mentioned the Brody and the Granger. But what about the Eve though? What about the Eve?
Yep.
Personally, I'm hoping that it's Papa Dog, but we're gonna be seeing very shortly who it's going to be. S11, come on, give me that prediction right.
Is it going to be Papa Dog or Chan?
Maybe Irvin.
Maybe Erwin?
Chan. Okay.
All right, so you didn't get your prediction right, Gideon, but talk us through exactly what Chan brought to the table.
Look, this entire composition is dedicated around this real-world manipulation and maximizing its impact. The fact is, as soon as he gets that Ice Queen's wand, it makes it so difficult to walk out of it naturally, but add the ultimates coming in. The Grok ultimate, the Granger ultimate, and not to mention, even though, hell, maybe it's just one person, Kai can just do all the work. Just lock down one person, and that's all you need.
And one thing I do want to talk about here with this E pick is not first picked actually in the draft. It was actually in the second rotation of the first round of draft, which is quite interesting because for RSG, in their screaming phase, they actually had a not so great of a win rate with Eve, so they're kind of shy of picking this character out. But you cannot deny how strong this character is. The amount of utility the slow can offer to the entire game is absolutely insane. Here we're taking a look at a heat map of the MVP for game one.
Yep, again, as a mid laner, the Eve is going to start there. But you see how important Chan is to the game plan of S11. RSG, this is, I think, the stride for them, right? I think there was a successful invade in the first rotation for the purple buff. but that didn't shake Chan, that didn't shake S11.
Absolutely, because let's remember that the jungle isn't supposed to be that hyper carry that we want to, and if we're looking at the heat map, this is the first 5 minutes, right? Look at how hyper defensively Chan is playing. He never really touches the river, and even though first turtle is up, he doesn't need to be there. His ultimate, this artillery mage, still bombarding from afar.
You see, what's interesting is you can see how defensive it plays. That also is attributed because of how aggressive RSG was early game. You know, you saw the really smart invade strategy with Lozi distracting the jungler, the support, the mage. Meanwhile, on the other side, we have the Martis invading the blue buff in the early game. Unfortunately, they were not able to open up the lead. I really like the first turtle, how RSG really play really disciplined with Diablo, the mage, Lilia, to zone away the jungler, the Grandeur, but they're not able to carry through that advantage going further into the game. Coming down to game 2, it's all about confidence. That word for RSG, right? Can they really just stick to the discipline, stick to the principles, and really win the game?
And that's something interesting to say because RSG SG, the more, I'd say, veteran team here going into this matchup. And S11, yes, they are Latam Super League champions, but it's their first time on the world stage. So there has to be some nerves, but it might be that same nerves that just is like an animal put up against a corner. It fights for its life.
Absolutely, and I think, you know, when we're talking about S11, right, and especially just how they are bred, the genes in them, some of them looking like absolute supermodels, like I got lost in Chan's eyes there for a moment, but hopefully it continues on.
Let's go ahead and throw it back to our casters, Jays, Wolf, and Mirko. Throw us back into game number 2.
Thank you very much, Dave, Leo, and Gideon. Wow, look at me in the eyes. Say that you love me. I guess that's what Chan basically mesmerizing Gideon right there. But apart from that, something else that's more mesmerizing will be our TikTok Live. Carnival Cheer Up for M4 Watch M4 matches on TikTok and participating in Cheer Up for M4 activities by watching M4 matches on TikTok. And also using the M4 exclusive gifts to cheer for your favorite teams. There will be a chance for you to be on TV and win abundant of gifts. So what you can do also is you can also take a sneak peek at M4 events and be the first to receive info about all the rewards you can get, right? M4 Pass will be available on 12/20, and of course rewards such like the Beatrix, like Chaser, Beatrix Stellar Brilliance, M4 Beatrix figurines, emotes, sacred statues, spawn effect, recall effect, avatar border, and trail effect awaits you. And of course, I already got that one. You can also get the Aulus special skin War Lion for free by completing the tasks too. So starting from the 24th of December, M4 support chest will also be available in-game as well. It's already available now. So what you can do, open it up, get loads of M4 Pass EXP, and stand a chance to receive a mysterious gift. So on the final day of M4, finally happening on the 15th of January, expect to get a avatar border for free. And of course, I mentioned that earlier just now, M4 Battle Night event, unlock a skin chest by completing the task and pick a skin of your choice within the chest. Hashtag Mobile Legends Bang Bang, hashtag MLBB M4, and of course, hashtag Dare to be Great.
So much being given out right
man.
now, and man, I can't wait to jump into MLBB, but we still have 2 more games, presumably, right? It really depends because S11 have the chance right now to just take it home.
Exactly.
Knock out an MPL champion.
Exactly. That will be amazing because they're a non-MPL region. They're flying here in Southeast Asia just to take the first series of the day and eliminate an MPL champion. That will be a sight to see for sure. But how are they doing it anyways, right? Really impressed on how S11 kind of showed us that they made the rest between the knockout stages and the group stages really worth it. Because what we saw is a definitely prepared S11, a strategy that we have not seen before, double marksman. They were successful with it, and they're using like the mundane elements to a different kind of approach, like utilizing a real-world manipulation for poke. That's amazing.
It's crazy, right? Because again, it really fits, but it only fits for their composition, for their style of play. Usually, that's the main damage source. You want to use that towards the end or in the middle of the team fight.
Correct.
But I think right now, on stage, it does feel like S11 are much more comfortable, much more confident than RSG SG, who are kind of struggling. Do you think the nerves are getting to them?
Yeah, I think RSG, you know, they are very heavy momentum kind of teams. These nerves, even in MPL Singapore, right, it can affect them. And I'm also, to be honest, rooting for my homeboys right here, but I'm also a little bit nervous. Now, the Kanchong is already hitting like 100%.
Now a bit more nervous.
It's a lot more nervous, to be honest, Mirko.
Is the problem me? Have
You're a
I?
problem.
Yes, you're the problem.
You're a problem,
You're a
boy.
problem, boy.
Have I also cursed the neighboring neighboring country, Singapore? Is that how it is?
Yes.
I hope not. I hope
As
not.
long as you don't curse Indonesia, it's all good, man.
Man, I can't have nasi lemak. I can't have bakutik. Can I only have like nasi padang now?
Don't worry, Nasi Padang will get you some gold tick later on as well. A lot of good food, but
Yep.
for the players right now, it's time for them to show what they've got, especially the Singaporean champions.
That's right. I just now build about it. I'll talk about it. They have a lot of things to prove on this world stage. Being the more veteran team, technically has been going through more world championship as compared to S11, but S11 being pushed against the wall, they bite back. And don't forget, the winner of this best of 3 will be going up against Falcon.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Just a
big
reminder.
match.
That's a big reminder. Well, we don't have to think about that, and I'm pretty sure that these players, they're not thinking about that now. They just want to be in the moment against their opponent right now, which is RSG Singapore. And of course, for the Singaporean squad, they had a lot of moments of brilliance in that game too. In fact, they are even in a big advantage during the first few minutes
Yep.
of the game. They even punished one of the members of S11, so they might be feeling like that might have been just a blunder. Let's not let them take over the game once again. Let's not let them find their momentum. Because when it comes to this, like the drafting, right? It looks like pretty. Even you even argue that when it comes to ease of execution, it's easier to execute the RSG Singapore lineup compared to S11.
I know. I mean, right now, what I really want to see for RSG Wolf, right, is that they just need to slow down that tempo. I think they're a little bit overheating earlier just now. They're making a little bit few more blunders, especially during the last second turtle onwards, especially during the last part of the game. I mean, being caught in that real-world manipulation is a little bit painful. I think they gave up maybe the Eve a little bit too earlier just now. Maybe they should go back to basics. Go for, you know, the picks that they like. They already got that Cho by Lozy. They also already got Bray on that Martis. They also got 505 on that Lilia. But however, I just feel like, you know, Diablo being the EXP laner for RSG, I think this is really not his meta.
I mean, if you look at it, the draft has such a big impact on the game,
It
right?
does.
And just now in the game, I think, for me at least, I actually like RSG SG's draft a bit better because of the multiple win conditions that they have. That they
ease
can
of
fall.
execution, right?
Exactly, right? It feels easier to execute, especially that Yu Zong last pick. That was just the cherry on top, right?
Yeah.
It felt like they could dive towards the back line, and the 2 marksman composition added with the Yves is going to really struggle. But again, I do believe it comes down to the execution.
I agree.
RSG SG did not find the comfort playing that way, and they were just really leaning towards that one style of play where they need to dive. Lolzy finds a pick and they win. They've done that in the early game, it worked. But to a certain point, it's got to be S11 learning, adapting. And that's where RSG needs to learn, needs to adapt, and needs to understand that there are many other ways to take the game than that, I mean, compared to that one early on.
Yeah, I feel like Baby Cakes right here, right? I think going back to that Beatrix, even in the group stages, that Beatrix wasn't performing very well, in particular for Baby Cakes, especially
For everyone.
To-
Beatrix
yeah.
has been horrible.
It is, especially in this current meta. They're like I don't know, you can go back to even the Clint, to be, for example, as well. It's a lot easier to execute. You can stay further away. You don't really need to step up forward with the Negru's passion as well. But let's take a look at the player head-to-head.
Okay, so it's 505 going up against Chan. Chan, very impressive in the previous game, but all throughout the tournament, starting from the group stages, when it comes to averages, you can attribute that to RSG SG's 505. So far, it has been Kadida. Oh no, it's not. It's Farsa, Valentina, and Xavier. So actually, 505 already played like 4 different heroes already. So pretty impressive. And the way that you notice coming out from RSG Singapore, they utilize their mid laner more on the objective side as compared to S11, which they want to get kills.
Team
It's here for
fight.
the GPM. Yeah.
It's just the different styles, right? For RSG 505 as well, he's more of that killer type of mid laner. He wants to get those kills down, and he stays in the back. Meanwhile, I mean, it's the opposite, complete polar opposite. Chan likes to go in, even on the Eve. He's the one popping, he's the one initiating on with the real world relation. But it does seem like right now we are going to get into the drafts for game 2. So just to summarize everything we've said in the draft, RSG needs, I think, to not change the draft. They should just rely on the same kind of draft,
Yeah.
multi-dimensional, many win conditions,
Correct.
but they need to fix the
Correct.
execution. Meanwhile, for S11, even though they won in game 1, I still believe they need to get a solid draft here. They need to be very careful because RSG are going to learn from their mistakes from the first game.
Definitely, RSG, they are known for their momentum. They're also known for their adaptability. Their strongest point is when, Lozy can find that good picks. We're going to be going, like what Mirko said earlier just now, we're going to go into the draft very, very soon. Expect, not a lot of tweaks in terms of the draft, but also expect them to change a bit of the play style. But we will be going over to the draft, ladies and gentlemen. This is game number 2. This is potentially the final game for RSG, and RSG don't want it to be the final game in M4.
Absolutely. I can expect that S11 will also ban out some of the comfort picks coming up from RSG Singapore. Just like in game number 1, you have that outlier, the Lolita ban, the third ban coming out from S11. This time, it will be their first. And guess what? This is one of the comforts of RSG Singapore. Played it twice out of their 3 games during the group stages, and were very comfortable with it. And it seems like S11 did their homework.
Oh man,
They did.
RSG SG have already opted to go for the first pick, right? So far in M4, it does feel like first pick has had just a much better win rate, better games overall, even though, again, usually, well, previous patches have actually been very advantageous for the second pick, right?
Yeah.
Because you get the last pick in the first phase and the first pick in the second.
I think the best part about, being second pick is that you get to pick 2 prior picks, right? You trade away 1 prior pick away to the opponent, and then you take 2. Whereas right now, there's so many good first picks, like the Blue, for example, which already got banned. There's also that Eve that is wide open for RSG to take over the side of 505.
Same band so far, as you can see, it's just the Joy and the Glue that's traded back and forth, but the Eve is going to be prioritized. This is what I expected in game 1. I expected the first pick to just go for the Eve because of how oppressive she is in lane. The poke and even initiating, you're so good now with the changes being made to the real world manipulation where you can't be cancelled by any CC except for the suppression.
Well, the Kajas was the Valentina is available, which kind of means that Kaja can lock down the Eve eventually, and having the Valentina also allows for you to steal that real-world manipulation. Instead, it's going to be the Benedetta as well as the Claude. The comfort picks coming out from S11, particularly this Benedetta, which Papa Dog really played well in the previous game.
Yeah, I think Gideon was talking about this, right? Papa Dogs being able to cut not only just the waves, I would say, cut apart the team fights, making it super difficult for RSG to synchronize together to fight as a team against a team fight composition, right? S11, on the other hand, I would have thought that they went for the Yuzhong because, you got an enemy Eve on the other side. I think that is a no-brainer over there, but I think that could be disadvantages over the side of RSG as well. Diablo very comfortable on this Benedetta 2. He would not be able to get his hands on it.
Man, the Claude first pick and the Leslie instantly. This is why I was kind of, I'm doubting the Claude pick. I don't really agree with it because, again, first pick early on, very easy to counter. You could see RSG just want to walk the Claude down. A Lapu to dive in. You already have the utility, the poke, and a Leslie that is a counter matchup in the gold lane.
Are we going to see like something like a Fredrin coming out from S11 earlier on, or maybe are they going to answer the Eve immediately? Like the Valentina is also still there, but they can pick it up if they want to. I like the Lapu-Lapu pick because it has good laning matchup versus the Benedetta if ever. You can also cut the lanes, and you can team fight much earlier compared to a Benedetta, which kind of means that you can activate this Lapu-Lapu against the Claude the early stages of the game, snowball through it. We're looking at the Kadila. Okay. So what they wanted to do is really just to burst down the members of RSG Singapore, utilizing the rough waves against the Eve. You might not take out you might not cancel the real manipulation, but you can take down the Eve.
Yeah, I agree with you, right? I was thinking about, the Valentina would be good right here. You want to fight fire with fire, you want to fight water with water, right? You want to fight real world manipulation with real world manipulation. Create that Venn diagram in the middle of a team fight, and then no one stays around. But however, S11 prefers to fight with water instead. Kadita to try to find the burst, and it's very flexible. Not only just you can find the burst on top of that Eve, you can also find a burst on top of that Leslie as well if you can catch her.
It's such a smart move, honestly, now looking at it, right? I was, questioning the Claude pick early on. First pick, by the way. We haven't seen that in a long time, especially not on M4. But with the Claude pick, it did actually bait out the Leslie. That's also very vulnerable to the dive that right now S11 have drafted for, have, gone for. You can see the Kadena, the Benedetta. Leslie's not going to have a good time, right?
Yep.
Even with the Yves behind to help the Leslie, I think, again, we could just go back to when last time I saw this kind of composition, it was Blacklist International playing at iesf for Philippines, right?
Yeah.
They played the Leslie and the Farsa. A bit different towards
different.
to the Yves, but still, that's a lot of dive going up against this kind of range composition that can be very, very bad for them.
So now that we can expect more jungler bans against RSG Singapore. So far, what they have played, RSG Singapore played Martis, and that is played like at least twice already, all throughout the matches of RSG Singapore. There's also that Ling that RSG have also deployed before, which might be of consideration, especially against a Claude that can dive with the Lapu-Lapu and the Yves.
I personally feel Mirko and Wolf, RSG, like what we said just, like what we start off the day, right? This is do or die, what they've said. And not only just that, this is not only just a survival of the fittest, it is also a struggle of the fittest. The team that dropped this particular game will go home, and RSG is one game away from that. Yes, it's a very scary place, but I think RSG should be able to stabilize this. I have to believe in them. They can do this. And of course, showing support over to my homeboys. However, on the side of S11, they're banned away in the Kaja.
Well, for me, I think it's the opposite right now. Unfortunately, Jays, with the bans here, they've opted to go for Grok and Atlas, and I know exactly what S11 are going for. At least, I think. Kaja ban, Marta's ban. They're opting to go for an assassin in the jungle, preferably